Shabbat Shalom and Happy Thanksgiving. Sometimes the messages that the weekly Torah portion attempt to teach us are overt. They are, if you will, smacking us in the face, trying to get us to understand something that is obvious or something that we should be seeing. But sometimes they're more subtle. And yet if we look at these subtle messages, we can sometimes take the most incredible and important things away from our holy Torah. In this week's Torah portion, we read about Vayishlach. In essence, it's the story of the reconciliation of Jacob and Esau, and the story of the rape of Jacob's only daughter, Dinah. These stories seem to have no connection other than they're about the same family. And yet, when we look at both of them, there is a subtle message that we are trying to be taught. We just need to look at it in the right way. In each of these stories, there are examples of physical strength. In the story of Jacob and Esau, it's Esau. And of course, in the story of Dinah, it's not only her rapist Shem, but also her brothers, Simeon and Levi, who react so violently. We sometimes value physical strength. We think it's supposed to be championed. We think in some way that it's a measure of a person's stature in the world. But if we look at this week's Torah portion, we see that physical strength is fleeting. And while it might be able to accomplish something in the moment, it doesn't build anything for the future, and in fact, it tears things down, relationships. The reality is that physical strength is something that we overvalue. It's something that we think is important, but when it comes down to it, it's really not. That overvalue is the same thing that leads to so many acts of physical violence in our community, especially acts of abuse against women and children. We need, as a Jewish community, as a global community, to understand it's not physical strength that creates stature, but rather our ability to avoid physical confrontation. The Torah seems to be teaching us that, whether subtle or not. I think the world needs to listen. Shabbat Shalom.